Hello, I'm Paul Fox, Artistic Director for the South Hills Junior Orchestra, and welcome to our short video presentation about everything you always wanted to know about Shazola, the South Hills Junior Orchestra Online Academy. At least you think we could have picked an acronym that was easier to pronounce, right? Sit back and relax. For the next few minutes, we will take a journey to discover a brand new music learning opportunity for you or someone you love. Think about it. Where were you on March 13th, 2020? That's the date the coronavirus struck our area. All in-person practices of South Hills Junior Orchestra at the Upper St. Clair High School band room on Saturdays were postponed. And shortly later, the governor closed all the schools across the Commonwealth. So, for more than 37 years, SHJO has supported local school string and band programs and the music making of adult amateurs. Our nonprofit, non-competitive education association has been made possible in part by the Upper St. Clair School District, professional music educators and community volunteers donating their services, and the SHJO Booster Organization. Okay, the first thing I said was, well, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Right off the bat, we assembled a library of digital resources for self-exploration and mastery of music concepts. Things you could do at home and on the internet. My chief concern as conductor of Sojo, how was I going to keep my players motivated, keep practicing, and stimulated to make new music goals? So we created shjo.clips. If you're curious about the Sojo clips, you can take a look at these. It's not in a password protected section on our Sojo website. It's under resources and clips. That's at shjo.org, resources and clips. As you know, when the schools closed, everyone scrambled to adapt and find avenues for virtual music making and remote learning. If you're a school student, you'd remember your teachers courageously struggled to finish off the year with meaningful alternative learning opportunities, perhaps using Google Classroom, Google Meets, Canvas, Schoology, virtual field trips, online lectures, a bunch of new software. Many of the educators had to learn it in a hurry. However, to me, this was not enough. My wife Donna and I really needed to reach out to our loyal membership and families, touch base with how our current musicians were doing, and figure out ways that we could still get together and play music. So enter Zoom meetings. But as you probably know, there's one major drawback. Performing online in an ensemble is next to impossible because of something called latency, a horrible delay, and the inability to sync audio and visual cues. So this was the inspiration of round one of Shazola. And pardon my bragging, we got creative. You can play together as long as everyone leaves their mics off. We can play excerpts and small sectional practices of the music we have in our folders, and then slowly but surely put it all together and play along to a soundtrack of the same arrangements. We can create special scale warm-ups and other exercises that will advance our musicianship and maybe build our technique up. We can even perform do-it-yourself duets or small chamber pieces as long as only one person at a time turns on his mic. That person does the count off, and the other two players or more play with him virtually. Of course, you have to swap the parts and then let the other guy switch roles and turn his mic on instead. But for larger groups, we can divide into pairs in Zoom breakout rooms. Or if you don't have anyone else to play with, you can record part one on your own device, like a smartphone, rewind it, replay it, and play part two with yourself. So regardless of COVID-19's restrictions and having to remain safe and social distances, we can and we will do a lot to explore new avenues, media, and methods for improving ourselves musically and technically. These were some of the activities we have done, and we're going to start back up beginning on September 12th. Synchronous, you got to know your definitions, Saturdays, and asynchronous on your own time. Synchronous means everybody's together in the same Zoom meeting. This was a glimpse of our first schedule. Basically on Saturdays it's between 11 and 12:30. So when you're doing asynchronous activities, you can go do them anytime you are free. And the items in red were special interests in those early couple weeks. And look at the goodies we wrapped up in one package. This is part of the Music First classroom. And I'm going to give you a little guided tour of what we've been up to, but if you look at the logos, you have Focus on Music Sound, which looks like a blue moon in the center, and that's like an encyclopedia of music terms and places to go and see and hear. Practice First is an assessment tool you play into the microphone on your phone, your tablet, or your computer, and it evaluates how you're doing, gives you the music, and shows you where you've made mistakes. Sight Reading Factory generates a lot of notes for you to try to read immediately, not practice, but learn to sight read. Musician is a music theory program. That orange whole note in the middle of the screen here is Note Flight, which is a notation software. A lot of wonderful packages. We learned how important it is to warm up on our instruments properly. And we actually went out and received some expert advice, like Dr. David Earle, assistant professor from Ithaca College. Physical relaxation, stretching, and breathing exercises. Since many of us are stuck at home these days, we're devoting a little more quality time on the specifics of music theory and the technique we need to ace our music. How about a lesson on string harmonics and the physics of musical sound? Or a seminar on shifting, fingering, bow technique, or playing off beats? So the focus is on tools, methods for best practices in learning music. I use all kinds of strange terms like slice and dice, work on small chunks first. Seek to make it easier, subtract the things that you can't play right away, and then start making it progressively more challenging, adding faster tempos, greater range of dynamics, more difficult techniques, unique articulations, rhythm and slurring pyramids, keys, just like a toolbox, things you need to do to fix. Play it 5 times in a row. Lots of advice on how to practice. My wife developed Smart Practice, a bunch of slides and techniques on how to approach problem solving when you have practicing in music. We actually shared a lot of those ideas in a blog post. Take a peek at paulfox.blog, where if you look closely you can also find some samples of Shajola and SHJO clips too. An important part of our virtual band sectionals has been learning new scales to develop key literacy and fluency, not just the concert B-flat major. Even with the exercises, we explore control in playing all the musical elements and apply these to the scales and keys of our literature in our folder. Speaking of the music, a great variety of music, something for anyone's tastes, and there's a lot more coming. Different periods and styles like Bach fugue, Baroque, or classical Gluck, two pieces from Iphigenia and Aulis. Very powerful medley. It's actually three medleys. Lord of the Rings. I'd like to see any of you bass, trombone, bassoon, cello players play that solo, The End of All Things. Very challenging. We're also going to be doing the Western Pennsylvania premiere of the Pennsylvania March. One of my favorites, the Moldau by Smetana. Absolutely gorgeous. And for everybody, Disney Magic. Lots of pieces from our favorite Disney tunes. So we'll take some super soundtracks, as we call them. Student festivals, professional orchestras. We're finding more of these every day. And we share these recordings so that we can actually play with a full orchestra. Valuable to hear the whole picture. Also available are some special interest seminars like solo repertoire classes and this series on Leadership 101, where we explored how to become better as visionaries, coaches, and managers of ourselves and others. There's one of my favorite is Daniel Pink, who talks about how leaders inspire creativity. Other workshop topics include an exposure to time management, personal organization, teamwork, conducting, critical listening, composing, music theory, sight reading, history and appreciation, and practice methods. Always back to how do we practice this music. So, our members would like to announce that there are 24 openings for the fall 2020 semester of Shazola. We're all out there recruiting by word of mouth. And yes, SHJO is also looking for new players from all instrument sections and all ability levels, from barely beginners to advanced players who want a bigger challenge. We are especially on the hunt for clarinets, saxes, low brass, strings of all kinds, and percussion. So what a deal. We want you to try it first. That's only fair. New student and adult musicians are invited to dust off your instruments, warm up your chops, brush up your musical skills, or try something totally new. Sign up for a 3-week free trial period of Saturdays in September. And if you like them, tuition for new members is only $50, and it grants you full access from September through December to all our synchronous classes, asynchronous instruction, our vast music library, and a subscription to those awesome state-of-the-art Music First software apps. Our next round of classes begins on September 12th, so please register soon. Contact Managing Director Janet Vukotic by her email, mdirector@shjo.org. I hope you'll join us. If you have any questions, give us a holler. Thanks for watching.